Hello everyone, welcome back to Form of Therapy. This is the Culture Study. I'm the channel's video producer and your host. You can call me PD. And today we are checking out the debut of a brand new girl group. This is Tippy by XG. Now, XG, there are a few interesting tidbits about this debut. Let's go over them. First of all, XG stands for Extraordinary Girls. Similarly to JYP's brand new rock band, Extraordinary Heroes, they spell extraordinary with an X, not an EX, but they go by XG. Now, with rookie debut groups, I like to look up what label they're from, nothing else, just because it usually sets a standard and a bar of, okay, this is what I can expect. This is what I can expect. And if can't even meet that bar, it's like, what are you doing with this debut, right? Now, their label, XGAL-X, turns out it's a joint venture between YG Entertainment and Avex Group from Japan, which leads us to the members, which is even more interesting. It's a 7-member girl group, and they're all Japanese. Now, I don't know, some of them might be ethnically Korean or half Japanese, half Korean, but at the very least, they all have very Japanese names. And if most, if not all of them, were born in Japan as well. Another interesting factoid is that Hikaru was supposed to be in this group until, she got placed into Kepler because she won Girls Planet. So there's no, mention of whether or not Hikaru will join XG after the fact. Obviously, we don't want to think about that. That's a very long ways away from now. But that's pretty interesting. That also tells me that we're going to be getting something pretty dope, because if Hikaru was potentially going to be in this group, if she was going to be in this lineup, that means that this group has got to have a pretty strong focus on dance. And just even from the opening shot, the very first shot, it looks like it might be a pretty badass, dope concept. And that's what I'm curious to see, because Japan is known for having a very different training system from Korea. And I'm curious because this has been in the works for a while, apparently, at YG. Did they train in Japan? Did they train in Korea? But did they go through the intense Japanese training system? I know things have been changing in Japan because clearly Hikaru, she was a crazy good dancer. So I assume members of XG have got to be on her level, if not similar, right? With that in mind, before we check out today's video, guys, if you enjoy our content and you'd like to support us, please consider checking out our Patreon. All our YouTube videos are copyright noticed, so we don't make any money on these. It goes directly to the labels. So if you want to support the channel and if you want us to keep going, consider visiting our Patreon. Over at patreon.com/formatherapy, we do listening parties, we check out K-dramas, variety content, we check out survival shows. As I mentioned, Hikaru, we just finished watching Girls Planet. We're watching a bunch of Kepler variety. We're into Kepler Zone right now, so you can come join us there. Of course, you don't have to support us monetarily if you don't want to. You could just simply hit the like button down below, leave a comment, and subscribe down below. It would help us out a lot. All right, let's get into the video. This is Tippy by XG, and this is your form of therapy. It's a very, it's got to be the hook, right? It's way too interesting not to be the hook.
Gonna keep you on your tippy toes. Watch the way we move, the way we work, the way we glow. They ain't ready for us, we about to wreck the game. On the back of us, they follow like a
this girl,
this reality.
Very smooth.
Everything we do is worthy of a gallery. We gon' whisper to you super quiet, about to show them who's in charge, taking over.
This is gonna be all English?
Taking the lead.
Oh, this is gonna be all English. She is a spitting image of Sujin from Weekly. What? Wow, this girl's aura, her presence is insane.
Gonna keep you on your tippy toes. Gonna keep you on your tippy toes.
This main girl in the center right now, she has a very interesting charisma too.
Keep your change in a 2 cents.
Oh.
Girls on the rise, you a nuisance. Drop jars,
what the?
Got pushed out a queen.
She sounds like Vava, a Chinese rapper. Ooh, she has a very interesting tone. Ooh. This girl is both cute and her rapping is dope. Wow. I do wish there was a little bit of a variation in this bass line. It's like a little too repetitive.
Yeah, we're going for the crown group masterpiece.
Oh my god, that is a sexy
Taking the
car.
lead, bringing the heat, yeah. Head to the sky, eye on the prize, yeah. We're on the rise, you ain't seen nothing. Lace them on tight, gonna keep you on your tippy toes.
Ooh, I really like the editing there. That was slick. The direction of this is really dope. Just that editing sequence of like her coming up, whispering in her ear, is perfect. I love these like undershots of that girl. I think her name is Harvey. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
When we step on the scene, we super beam. Understand that we didn't come to play, babe. Here to dominate. I'ma keep you on your tippy toes. Gonna 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 keep you on your tippy toes. That's the way it goes. Gonna keep you on your tippy toes.
Ooh. Ooh. Hey, man. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty dope debut. It's a pretty interesting, different sound. There's a lot to like, and I would say even love about this debut. I do have a few qualms here and there, but let's talk about the things we love. Okay, first of all, just from a song standpoint, that is very, very interesting. I love kind of like the very subdued, controlled nature. That hook is fucking fantastic. That it's fantastic. I mean, I have nothing more to say about that. But I do have a couple issues with the song, but we'll talk about that later. Now, the entire song is in English, which was very interesting. I did read, like, this group is described as a global group, and I was thinking, okay, and this is before I knew all the members were even Japanese. I was like, okay, I wonder what they mean by global group. It's why I actually went to look at the members. Ordinarily, I don't even look at the members. I only look at the label. But I was like, okay, maybe they have like Japanese members, Korean members, Chinese members, Thai members. That's what they mean by American members. Maybe that's what they mean by a global group, right? No, all the members are Japanese, and I was like, what's global about this? And I realized, oh, they might have plans to appeal to just like the overall global market, just straight up, given that the members are Japanese and they're singing all in English. Ordinarily, with the K-pop system, the focus is you want to be popular in Korea. I mean, it's obviously great to be popular worldwide, but if you can't be popular in Korea first, it's hard to survive, mainly because even if you're popular internationally, the things that make you money, like PPL or concerts or fan meets, like all sorts of stuff, like buying albums, like that is bigger in Korea than it is internationally. And so that's usually the focus of a group going in. Now, because this is a joint venture, this label, I don't know where it's headquartered, but it's still a collaboration between both a Japanese and a Korean label. You know, they might be setting out just from the get-go, like, hey, we want to introduce them to the world, and like be in America, be in Europe, be in Latin America, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like that's why they went with the American lyrics, fuck that, English lyrics, sorry about that. I committed the ultimate grammatical faux pas, but that was really cool. Now, I'm not entirely sold on the song, just because the song's not bad, but for me personally, it's not completely my taste. I'm definitely a very big K-pop fan. And the thing about K-pop structures is every section, whether it's the intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, it's all meant to be very colorful and all meant to be memorable. This is talked about a lot in songwriting circles, but most songs, most oftentimes, unless you're a big fan, most songs you only ever remember the chorus, the hook. You know, that's kind of the point. But the thing about K-pop, which is what made K-pop stand out and made it unique, is that all the sections are colorful and memorable, you know? Now, the thing about XG is that it's not necessarily a bad song, but the structure is produced in a style and in a way where it sounds closer to an American or just even a Western pop style than any other style. So I don't like listen to these groups, and I haven't really listened to their songs, but I imagine like they're trying to maybe go for a global standing group like Little Mix or Fifth Harmony, but with Japanese members. But obviously English is the quote-unquote universal language, so that's why they went for English. I feel like that's what they're trying to go for, and that's why this song is in the style and is in the structure that it is, because I understand that the K-pop structure style can sound too wild and too crazy for some people. A lot of people do like the American Western production style. So, you know, from a personal level, that's just something that I wish like the pre-chorus was a little bit more powerful, a little bit more interesting. I wish the verses were alive a little bit more, and I wish they disrupted the bass line a little bit just to keep it interesting and a little bit more erratic. But again, I don't think that's what they're going for. They're not trying to make a K-pop group that's Japanese. I think they're just straight up trying to make a global group. We'll see how that pans out, but I respect it. From a visual standpoint, I'm actually very, 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 very interested in this group overall. I don't know what their average age range is, but they all look very mature and they all look very cool and badass. And they also just have facial structures that you don't see in a lot of K-pop groups just because of, you know, the genetic difference between Japanese and Koreans. And you get a lot of Japanese looking members. And I think that's really cool. There's one girl here with like the really intimidating but very charismatic eyes. I like her. There's just that girl who does the pre-chorus that I think looks very Korean. And just overall, I love everyone's demeanor here. I love everyone's vibe. It's super, like, it's not just confident, but there's a little bit of arrogance in this song that I really, really like. Arrogance is something that is so hard to master as a K-pop idol or just an idol in general. Like, oftentimes, even rookie groups, they have to, you know, be at it for a while before they can reach that phase where they are just like absolutely cocky on stage or in their music videos, you know, like they know they're hot shit, right? But XG coming out the gate, it looks like it, like the vibe at least. I don't know if that's really how they are or if they're just really that good at their presence and their acting, but XG, at least in this music video, when they say they're like the top shit, it feels like I believe them. They're the top shit. You know, this beginning rap intro, talk, singing, whatever you would call this. This girl, man, super, super intimidating. Like a super interesting way to start off the entire music video in general. And I really like the group. Like, I like looking at them and I'm like, wow, everyone looks super diverse and everyone looks like their own character. Whatever those characters are, we don't know. Obviously, you need time to develop and show those things. But like, wow, everyone looks unique. The last time I felt that about like a K-pop group was when I watched Purple Kiss. I looked at Purple Kiss and I'm like, they look like they're all their own kind of like individual standout star. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like everyone that could have been like the main visual in all these other different groups put together in one group. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, I think I forgot to show this. I think the music video, it's all right. I mean, overall, I do like it. I like the direction of it. I like the editing of it. But if I were to give a few points of criticism, I wasn't too much a fan of the camera work. I think the camera work was a little plain. It felt often at times like the camera work was very slow and the movement was very sluggish, and so their dancing looked very sluggish. And, you know, that's not necessarily their fault. I can tell that these girls are doing a good job, and I can tell that the dancing is really cool, but it's just like this part right here.
Keep you on your tippy toes. That's the way it goes. Gonna keep you.
It looks cool because of the choreography itself, but like the movement of the camera, and it's throughout the entire music video, honestly, it just feels really, really slow and sluggish. Like, I think during this pre-chorus right here,
Peace, yeah. Taking the lead, bringing the heat, yeah.
it feels like it suddenly slowed down a lot. And that's not to say you can't have slow, steady camera work. I think I like overall what they did. Like, I'm not saying they made a bad music video, but I do think that they missed the finishing touches, the little flourishes here and there that would have made this music video truly extraordinary. What I would have possibly thrown in, if you're going to have this much slow motion, I would say I think they could have done it during this pre-chorus. I feel like they needed to have some shots where they had some speed ramping going on. So like all of a sudden the camera moves really fast, and then when it gets to the member's face, it slows down, and then it goes back really fast. You might have seen that in a handful of K-pop videos. It keeps it interesting. I feel like they needed to have a little bit more of a push and pull with the audience, with the video. The video, it's visually appealing, but it's not very engaging. Like, I don't feel drawn in. I don't feel like they are sucking me in. Like, their visuals are on point. The song's pretty good. The dancing is pretty dope, but I don't feel like I'm being mesmerized. And I feel like they could have done that really well. I think a much more like longer, fuller camera rotations would have been a lot dope, because like this shot, like,
Gonna keep you on your tippy toes.
it just looks
Keep you on your tippy toes.
underwhelming
That's the way it goes. Gonna keep
in certain portions. Like I said, I do like the video. Like, I love like these undershots that they had. Like, it's really, really cool. I think they pulled it off really well. I think it definitely adds to the video. I love that they're breaking like the cinematic border. The I think it's called is it rotoscoping or stereoscoping, whichever. But an additional thing, I think this is actually a very beautiful music video. Like, overall, like, it's visually very clean. The lighting is very nice. The set deco, I think, is very nice. For example, it looks like they're in like a bathroom at like a dirty rundown club, but it looks nice, right? This is K-pop. You can make any shitty set look beautiful if you know what you're doing with set decoration and lighting, and they completely nailed that here. But I do think the music video falls apart in a few portions. Not falls apart, but it's a little lackluster. For example, the chorus. I feel like I like everyone's individual sets. Like, everyone has their own individual verse sets. But then when they come together for the dancing, it should like, oh, this girl right here, she's in a painting. This girl's going up a scaffold, like she's in a painting. Like, they've got like this grungy mirror set. They've got these stairs. You know, they had like whatever this is. This is a cool set. It looks like a clothing warehouse. I mean, I think it is a clothing warehouse. Then they've got the school set. Like, they all have like their set, like their sets, right? And they all look nice. I couldn't think of a better word. Sorry. They all look nice. And so when they come together, it should feel epic, and the stage should be more epic. But it's like, I don't want to say it's shitty, but it's like the most like plain, bland thing they could have gone for, other than just shooting against like a white or black cyclorama. Like, that's the only compliment I could give them. Is I think other video teams, if they were a little bit lazier, they would have just put them in front of a white cyclorama and then like just maybe shot them in like a silhouette. But, you know, they at least went to the effort of building a set. But this rooftop set thing with the, you know, billboard behind them, it's lacking something. It doesn't have any oomph, pop, splendor. I think maybe if you had thrown in like those the fireworks in the back, like where like it rains down the sparks, I think maybe in the final chorus that would have been nice. You know, you don't need it in the beginning, but in the final chorus it would have been nice. Like, I think that's another thing about the music video too. It doesn't really feel like it has a journey. There's no really beginning, middle, and an end. It's just like kind of like the song. It's just like it stays in one place the entire song, and the music video is like that too. But the music video shouldn't be like that. That's, you know, if the song chooses to be like that, that's fine. But the whole point of a music video is supposed to be, it's like a presentation, and, you know, there's a beginning, middle, and an end. And it just felt like everything was a beginning, you know? and it's just like this set feels very underwhelming. And obviously this isn't their fault, but Extraordinary Heroes also shot on a rooftop with a billboard thing, and so it's like they're both called Extraordinary, and they both have like a very similar set for their main chorus set. So that I thought that was very strange. But again, like I can't call this music video cheap because you look at their individual sets. You look at this set right here. It's very well made. It's very well shot. It's very well produced. I think they very much knew what they were doing. But like, even I wonder if this was a Japanese video team. Like, there's a lot of interesting things going on in the cinematography. Like when this girl is in the car, like the halation right there. That was a very nice, interesting touch. But this shot right here makes me think like this style of color grading too. Like, did a Japanese team shoot this? It might be that might be why I might have some issues with that. I can't guarantee it, but like the color grading here, like there's a way, like there's a particular way that like a lot of Japanese people or the Japanese industry color grades their footage, and like it kind of looks like this look, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I've at least not seen a majority of K-pop teams color grade like this, but like this Last Dance scene too, we've seen this kind of set before, and if you think about it, it's a very like lackluster set. Like, what is even going on here? Like, there's nothing going on here, and I feel like that's where it sort of falls apart. That's where it's just like everyone's individual sets are really cool. Like hers, like, well, this seems like nothing, but then they throw in the CG. It's like, oh, it looks cool. And everyone's like, I love what they did here, where she is laying on top of, I think that's the floor or the ceiling of the elevator. Or like right here, there's nothing going on here, but then they've got like these wolf eyes, and then these eyes are like, everything else is cool except the dance sets. Like I wonder if they had like just like a modest budget. So they don't have a big budget, but they have a modest budget. And so they were able to focus on putting money into everyone's individual scenes, but then they kind of ran out for all the dance scenes. Which, if that's the case, I can understand that, and I have to, I guess, agree with that. If I had to choose one or the other, I would choose making the girls look good as opposed to the main dance set. But, it's also a YG-backed group, so I don't know why money would be an issue, but overall, I would give the music video like a solid 8. I think it could be better, but I think overall it's good, and it's a really, really visually appealing video. Overall, I'm gonna give XG's debut a solid 8 out of 10. That's just my personal score. I think I would give the song like a 7 out of 10, and the music video like an 8 out of 10. But overall, like even though I'm giving the song a 7 out of 10, like I said, it's just because like that's my personal score. I think objectively, this song's probably like an 8 or a 9. But I'm just like not into this like very like monotone style of music, like with no variation. But the girls themselves are so good that it keeps me interested. What I would like to see, in another video is better camera work. I feel like because the song was so subdued, I feel like having like a much more wilder style of camera work would actually have been more interesting, and I think it would have been more eye-catching. Like a kind of like the rule of opposites. If the song is like super subdued, I think the video being a little bit more exciting would have been interesting. This is kind of like what I was talking about with NMIX's debut too. NMIX, their song, because it's like really loud and very cluttered, the music video should honestly be the exact opposite. Like it should be a little bit more simple and minimalist to counteract how chaotic the sound is, rather than trying to imitate that, because then I think everything's just messy. Here, the song is very simple, and so like the music and subdued, and so with the music video being subdued, I think it kind of it's just a very subdued everything. Like I feel like it loses the excitement a little. So I'm hoping for a little bit more interesting camera work in the future. But overall, very good debut. And if they're aiming for like a global release, I think that's really just going to be primarily a marketing thing. But you know, it's interesting, and they've got my attention. But I'm gonna pass the question off to you guys. What did you guys think of XG's debut? What do you guys think about this song? It's not very K-pop, but they're also not trying to be a K-pop group. It seems they want to be a global group, and if that's the case, I do think this is actually a very fitting sound for the global sound. But I'm also not a consumer of Western music, so that's why I'm passing off the question to you guys. You know, for those of you who do listen to more Western artists, let me know. What do you guys think about this song? Do you guys like this? Do you guys not like this? Let me know. All right, guys, that's it for my reaction review to XG's Tippy Toes. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Once again, if you'd like to support us, please consider visiting our Patreon. It really helps us out. It helps us keep the lights on. But if you don't want to support us monetarily, you could just simply hit the like button down below. Remember to leave a comment when you interact with our videos. It helps us out with the YouTube search algorithm. Go ahead and subscribe over here. Make sure to hit that notification bell as well. Check out our other videos over here, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Have a wonderful day.